What is up, YouTube? This is the Working Investor. This is the question I have for you guys. Does it make sense to work your job, your traditional job, or are we dumb for working our job because we can replace our entire income with 1 year of salary saved up for income? This is a very powerful question, and this is the motivation, I believe, where a lot of YouTubers out there, investors out there, speculators, if you'd say, are going into the Yieldmax funds because they're giving phenomenal return. That return is accelerating the chance of them getting out of their 9 to 5, supposedly. But again, so there is something called the traditional 4% rule, where if you save 25% of your 25x your gross income, or your amount you have to spend per year, you can pretty much retire indefinitely. That's the theory, because you could live off the market and even accounting for fluctuations in the market. But with the Yieldmax funds, I want to focus on look at the 30-day, the 1 month return, because as an option trader, I would look at the 1 month return. With the Yieldmax funds, and I'm going to show you in a moment, it looks like they've historically been giving 4 to 4.5%, maybe more, return in dividends per month. If you multiply, 4, let's say, times 10 is 40, times 12 is 48. So let's say it's around 50% return per year, which is incredible. Because if you make, let's say, $120,000 a year, 50% of that you could have 60 grand back in your pocket every year. And a lot of people are doing leveraged with margin, which is inherent risk, but it's like a double-edged sword. They don't want to wait 2 years. They don't want to wait until they have 2 times their annual income to retire. They just want to retire today. So they just save up 1 time their annual income, and then they let's say you put $100,000 in, you get $200,000 of buying power. And there's a lot of brokers out there. One of the most competitive brokers I've seen, what I've looked, is Interactive Brokers, and Robinhood seem to have the lowest margin rates. I believe that Robinhood has a 6.75% margin rate, and it's like tier. It depends on how much you're going to be borrowing, how much you have in the account. It can go up, I think, down to 6.55%. And this is all with one caveat, that the Fed is, I believe, due to announce their rates this week, and it may go down, or it may go up, or it may stay. Who knows? But again, if you're looking at 6.75% margin per year, but then you're looking at 4 to 4.5% return in dividends per month, that like 2 months seems like it would pretty much counteract the margin, or maybe 3 months with other brokers, depending on the broker. But again, it does have the inherent risk. If it goes down, you could lose double. I'm not saying to do margin. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an accountant. Another thing is people don't consider is like, okay, yes, there's a cost of 6.75% of half year. If you have $100,000 in and you take margin of $100,000, so now you're paying 6.75% of 50% of your portfolio. But if you were to make that same income with working, you have to pay 15.3% in Social Security and Medicare taxes, which if you're a W-2, your employer tends to pay half and you tend to pay half. But even if your employer pays half, that could still be a cost from you, because you may have gotten maybe a 7.5% extra income, but they have to like reduce your income a little bit so they can counteract the payment they have to pay for your Social Security and Medicaid taxes. So you're kind of being penalized. But I understand, again, look at the IRS code, but I understand that earned income is not, you don't have to pay, Social Security, Medicare taxes if it's non-earned income. Not only earned income, you have to pay for that. And when I'm talking about these crazy rates, I'm not making this up. If you look at Nasdaq.com, like let's say Yieldmax is a symposium of all the other accounts that Yieldmax company owns, and they have a dividend yield around 42.02%. Again, a lot of these funds are less than a year, so it's hard to say. And again, past performance is not indicative of future gains. And then look at NVIDIA, which I personally own. They seem to have supposedly earmarked for the past few months, I guess annualized, it's 116% dividends. And then AMSI, 44.5%. These are some of the stocks that I like. So I was just looking into these. Coney, again, I don't like Coney per se, but I'm doing a strategy. It's called a sandwich. So that's based off Coinbase, 98.63% dividend. So I'm talking about, when I say 40, at least roughly around 50%, I'm not kidding, around 50%. This is why people, Tesla 76%, as you can see. I'm not kidding. So basically, people like the person I believe who started off this movement of margin, is the Yieldmax TV guy. I have to give credit where credit is due. He's the first person that I learned from that does this margin that gives you boosted returns. Again, it's a double-edged sword. Again, he says himself, like, do not copy me, just make your own risk. And I agree, you do your own risk. Another person that does it, and he's making more than 10K a month, more than 20K a month, I believe. And then there's another YouTuber out there that's actually doing it, and people watch him. A big follow. A lot of people I don't agree with his investment strategy, but you got to give people making more money than you. You got to give. They deserve a little bit of attention, because they're. I feel like if they're somewhere where you want to be, look at them. I don't agree with all his investment strategies, but he talks about making about 10 plus, hit the $10,000 a month benchmark, and he put in about close to 100,000 and levered about 100,000. So there are people out there. My point is, there are people out there that are doing this, and it's seems phenomenal. It seems a little too good to be true. And one of the big problems is NAV erosion. A lot of these companies, they are losing net asset value, because with every company, it seems like when a dividend gets paid out, let's say you get $1 dividend, your underlying drops by about $1. So if you have $100 stock and it pays out $1 dividend, your stock goes down to $99. The question is, does it come back up to 100? Does it recover or not? So that's a good question. Some of them recover. Some of them take a very long time to recover, like 2 months to recover, 1 month. So you'll want to find something that has a good recovery. So a lot of these companies have a lot of horrible NAV erosion. I'll talk about a different video, and I've talked about in previous ones that I'm doing hedges. That each side of the hedge does give a dividend, but it's not a perfect system. There is always potential of losing everything. Again, I'm making no promises. Do not copy me. Not a financial advisor, not an accountant. Just here to share my thoughts, what I'm observing in the market as just a retail investor, with not a professional investor or anything. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is the Working Investor over and out. Take your own risks. Have a wonderful week.